Hey, I'm back again. It seems like again to me because I just made a video and it didn't upload. So frustrating. Okay, so I just got done eating a little bit ago, and I thought of something that I wanted to mention. Well, the whole reason I'm making this video is because somebody asked to see my retainers and asked if I'd be willing to show them. Of course I would. So yeah, a point that I thought about while I was downstairs cooking my dinner. Um, for anybody who cooks as a profession or even just as like a hobby, it's something to really consider when it comes to Invisalign if you're trying to make a decision and if this really would weigh on you. And I eat quite a bit. I don't necessarily cook all my meals, but even like at work, we take an hour lunch just about. So, and I eat breakfast, and the goal rate to keep your Invisalign in is I was told 21 to 22 hours a day. The one lady says she wears hers for 23 hours, and I don't know how you could eat as many meals as you need to be eating in an hour. That just blows my mind. So anyway, like I was downstairs cooking, and I was cooking some pasta, and I was like, oh, I want to see if it's done. Well, I couldn't. Like you just can't because you have the trays in your mouth. So I mean, if it takes about an hour to cook, depending on what you're making, obviously, and then it takes you, like 15, 20 minutes to eat it and to really enjoy it, I mean, you're like at an hour and a half of time you spent on a meal and eating, which if you cook for a living and you need to be tasting things all day, tasting your sauces and testing things out, because I can't imagine anybody cooking and then just throwing something out there because they think it's the way it should be, unless it's something you make every day. But anyway, so something to consider, because you definitely don't want any form of tooth decay because of the food that got caught between your trays. So yeah, so that's something to think about. It's kind of a bummer sometimes because like making cookies. Like you couldn't make cookies and be like munching on the cookie dough as you're making the cookies because cookies take a long time. So anyway, it's just something to think about. And then as far as my retainers go, I also kind of wanted to explain my process a little bit. Like I know I explained the process and I kept saying that in the last video, but more so like why I have to have retainers and why this is different than other people. Because of that crowding that I mentioned, and they pulled some teeth. The way the Invisalign process works is you go in for your consultation and you decide, yes, I want to do Invisalign. Well, then they, when you go back, they do impressions. For most people, this is the next step. They do impressions of your mouth, your teeth. And then they send these impressions away, and I believe it's out in California is where it's based. Don't quote me, not sure, but I think. So when they send it away, and then the Invisalign company will send back, I think they call it ClinCheck, and that's what your orthodontist kind of tweaks and, kind of goes over and decides where he thinks maybe some changes need to be made, that kind of thing. Then he sends it back to the company, and they make the trays based off that. But since I had extractions, and then they did my impressions, and then they sent them away, teeth naturally want to move into those spaces from the extractions, from the holes that I now have in my mouth. In 6 weeks, my teeth could be in, maybe not in entirely another place. I mean, my gaps wouldn't be closed or anything, but they could definitely be so much like off that my Invisalign trays wouldn't fit, or at least that they would be really hard to get on or really uncomfortable or anything like that. So that's what the point of these retainers are. They're to keep my spaces where they are and to keep everything in place until my Invisalign comes back. So these are them. So if you can see there, I mean, they're a lot like Invisalign in that they're clear and I wear them all day long. The bottoms. And they just snap on just like Invisalign do. I'm going to show you in a second. But I think the thing to notice is like they're not as fine-tuned as Invisalign would be because they're straight at the top. So I'll put them in and I'll show you. And sometimes they're hard. My teeth are not as tender anymore. I did have a dream last night though that all my teeth fell out, because sometimes my teeth feel so like loose when they're out of these that like I always joke about my teeth falling out, and I'm just, my teeth are gonna fall out. And wow, I had a dream that they fell out last night. Okay, so anyway. See? So they're clear. You don't really know so much. Um, I think I only talk funny when I'm actually thinking about them. Most of the time I don't really think about it. And then, and then sometimes my lip will get dry. Like, I think it's just when I'm slightly parched, they get dry, and then I end up doing things like this, which is totally awkward. And I had somebody make fun of me today. I didn't even realize I was doing it, so it's kind of funny. But, so yeah, that's my retainers, and I think I'll probably update in May. May 19th is when I get my trays, which I'm really excited about. So yeah, I'll definitely be like back on here and ready to put them in my mouth and show you how cool they are. So yeah, so have a good night, and thanks for watching.